Good morning. I'm not your average grandma, also Lori Wright, and I'm excited to have you here. And I am going to go over the 21-day fix kind of meal plan. It's also called Portion Fix. So I am going to cover that. I did a little presentation for you guys. So hopefully it's something that you can take away and apply. So let me get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and out of my my presentation because I have some actual stuff I'm going to show you. So there's going to be a little bit of live presentation as well as a PowerPoint I did. So here we go. So one of the first things that I want to share with you is a picture of what the containers look like. So there are different colored containers depending on what food type that you'll be eating. And you get a certain number of containers depending on what calorie bracket you're in. And I'm going to give you the formula for that in a minute. So basically, this picture presents it very well. It's green, purple, red, yellow, blue, orange, and teaspoons. The teaspoons aren't pictured here, but I'll get into that. But these all fall into different categories of food types. And it's really important that if you do this plan, that you follow it to a T. If you skip certain containers, you're not going to be getting the complement of the different food groups that you need. You will not have as good results if you skip containers. You might think that you're getting less calories, but they have to work in conjunction with each other. So just big heads up that if you do this, you need to really follow it. So those are the different containers. How you figure out what calorie bracket you're in, and I did a little example here, is that you want to take your current weight in pounds and multiply it by 11. And I used a 180-pound person as an example down here. Then you want to add to that total, which with a 180-pound person's 1,980 calories. You want to add 400 calories because if you're going to be doing a workout, if you're not going to be working out, you don't want to add the 400 calories. But if you're going to be doing the 21-day fix 30-minute fitness program, you burn 400 calories. So you want to add that into your calorie allowance. And so that total becomes 2,380 calories. Down here at the bottom, you'll see the example. And then you want to have a deficit so you lose weight. So you want to subtract 750 calories. So your final calorie target is 1,630 calories a day. So when you look at if you do the Portion Fix or the 21-day fix meal plan, you will get a booklet. And the booklet, I have it somewhere, but the booklet has this information in it. So I just captured it so it's easy for you guys to follow. So from the calorie count for the 180-pound person example, they would fall into the second column. And so they would be able to have 4 containers of green, 3 containers of purple, 4 containers of red, 3 of yellow, 1 of blue, 1 of orange, and 4 teaspoons of food a day. So basically, the idea here is that you put together a meal plan based on these containers that you're allowed to have. It's kind of like a little jigsaw puzzle in a way. And one trick that I learned is whatever your most important meal of the day is, start there and put whatever you want in that meal. And then whatever balance you have left out, then you go to the second most important meal. And then you go down from there. So I find, and then the snacks, you fill in like what's left over for the snacks. That's pretty much how I do it. I'll show you an example of my meal plan. So hopefully that'll help you. So I want to go into like what is in the green container. So these are the different foods. I will say that you can have foods that aren't on here, but these are the best foods. And they actually start top left as the best food all the way down to the lower right, which is it's still good food, but not as good. So if you want to do really, really healthy, pick kale, collard, greens, spinach, and Brussels sprouts, and You know, onions aren't, I love onions. Onions are always a part of my meal plan, so I'm going to eat onions even though they're at the bottom of the list. But, you know, if there's something on here that that's not on here that you like, there's a great Facebook group for 21-day fixers. And you can ask in that group to say, hey, I'm not sure what container this falls into. Green's pretty straightforward with vegetables, but, you know, like the yellow and the blue, sometimes, you know, you're not sure which one it falls into. So that's the green container. I do want to show you, because people freak out when they see their containers. So this little green container looks really, really small. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second, and I'm going to show you exactly, this is a cup. And believe it or not, a cup is a lot of food, especially for people who don't really like spinach. It's a lot of spinach. So I just want to show you, because I have a salad usually on my meal plan, and it's always very filling. So I'm putting spinach in the container. And I want to say that you can smoosh it down. You just need to get the lid on. So as long as the lid can go on, that's how much. So I'm putting it in a plate, and you can see how much salad. I mean, that's a heck of a lot of salad there. And then you add, you know, what I usually do is, this is one container of green, and then I add another container that's a mixture of like tomatoes, onions, red peppers, you know, maybe some broccoli. So you know, that's my other cup of greens. It's very easy to get a salad and get that together with your green containers. So just want to give you an example of how much that is. So let's go back to sharing my screen. All right, so go back to the next, after the green container, I'll cover the purple container. So the purple container is actually really the same size as the green container. It's 1 cup. So you have to be careful with fruit. The plan for the 180-pound person was, I can't even remember how many containers of purple they got, but on my plan, I'm the lowest calorie bracket. I only get 2 of these a day. I'm not a big fruit person, so it's not a big deal for me, but I think one thing that's important to note is a banana is 1 whole container. So actually, no, a half of a banana is 1 whole container. So 1 banana is 2 containers. So you have to be really careful with bananas. Bananas are a lot of fruit, and so I always cut my bananas in half, and I have half a banana in my shake, and that's 1 container for me. There's really a lot. If you hang on a second, I'm going to show you these blueberries. You know, so if you want to eat blueberries, they're second on the list. So they're a really great fruit or purple to have. So these blueberries, I mean, when you put, this basically, you can't see, but this whole container of blueberries fits into a purple container. So you get a heck of a lot of, I had a few spill on my counter, but you get a heck of a lot of blueberries in your purple container. So what you might want to do, and I often do, is I split my container in half. So I'll have half blueberry and maybe half raspberries or strawberries or whatever other thing you want to do. The other thing that is on the list is, believe it or not, on the fruit list is salsa. And this would be a heck of a lot of salsa. So you might want to, if you're not a big fruit person like me, maybe half a container of blueberries for a snack, and then half of a container of salsa that you could put on your omelet, because I love eggs and it's kind of nice to spice them up with some salsa. So you'll see on my meal plan that I show you that I do half containers a lot, because I like to spread things out and do different things, and I don't want to use 1 whole container of fruit, for example, in one sitting. That's a lot of blueberries to eat for a snack, in my opinion. So okay, so that is the purple. That's pretty straightforward and pretty easy. Oh, another thing that I like for a snack is I love these little clementines, and you can, 1 of these is a half of a container, so you can have 2, which will be a container. And so these are really good. I don't really like oranges, but I love these because they usually don't have any seeds in them and they're easy to eat. So that is purple. So let's go on to red. So red is the meat protein, basically. Obviously, if you're a vegetarian, tofu falls into this, and a couple of kinds of cheeses fall into this. So you've got cottage cheese, which is a protein. Veggie burger, eggs are on here. I love eggs in the morning, and it's interesting because 2 eggs is 1 container. And so where's my red container? Oh, I have my red container in my refrigerator. So in a red container. So I have actually, and I wanted to show you how much is in here. We have, let me get a plate. So I'm gonna have some chicken and meat steak stir fry for lunch. And so I put the meat in this container so I could show you. This is half a cup, but it is a lot of meat. So you guys can see in my little right-hand corner, ton of meat here that is quite filling. So you don't really, I have had people call me or message me upset because they get these containers and they think, how am I gonna, this isn't enough food. Well, it is enough food. It really is. Eyes are deceiving. It's an optical illusion. There's a lot of food here. So for, back to the eggs thing, so you can have either 2 eggs or 8 egg whites. And so what I do is I take 1 egg and 4 egg whites, and I mix those together, and that is my 1 protein for the morning. And then I cut up vegetables, and so I use a container of green, or maybe a half a container of green, depending on how many vegetables I want. And I actually make an omelet, and then you can use your half purple and put some salsa on it. So it's very important to get a good breakfast. So hopefully you like eggs, and you can use your eggs as 1 protein in the morning. So I am allowed to have 4 proteins. And so I have a protein at breakfast, at lunch, and at dinner, typically. And then my 4th protein is my shake that I have, which is the protein shake that I actually am drinking right now. So, and I'll get into the shakes in a little bit because I think that's an important part of it. So I think we can move on now. So we'll go to the yellow container. So the yellow container has carbs. It's basically carbs, but healthy carbs. I want everyone to know that my lips are dry and chapped, but healthy carbs are good for you, but you need to eat the right kind of carbs. You don't want to eat French fries. You don't want to eat potato chips. You don't want to eat white bread. Stay away from the bread basket. If the waiter brings you bread, tell them to take it away, because frankly, bread is as bad as dessert, when it comes to, not really healthy eating. Very few restaurants even have whole wheat rolls. So, but the container is fairly small for the carbs. And actually, I think I got this wrong. I think this is more than, I'll have to go back and look at this might be 3/4 of a cup. This is a half a cup. So you get half a cup and you get 2 servings a day. 1 slice of bread is 1 serving. And so you'll see that you don't get a lot of carbs on this plan. But you don't need a lot of carbs, frankly. So you need good ones. So I tend to have 1 piece of whole wheat. I use Ezekiel bread when I eat my egg in the morning, and then it all depends on what I'm doing in the evening. Sometimes I'll have some whole wheat pasta. Sometimes I'll have in the lunchtime, I'll do like half a pita pocket and put some chicken salad I make in there, or a small whole wheat tortilla to, put my sandwich in. So, it just all depends on, what I have on my meal plan. Sweet potato is a really great thing to do. You just don't want to put anything on. Use cinnamon is really good on sweet potato. I love edamame. That's on there. So you can go down the list. Oatmeal, you have to be careful with oatmeal though. Cooked oatmeal. You just don't want to have, you just need to measure it. So that's why the containers are great. All right, so let's move on to blue containers. So blue containers interesting. So it's got a lot of different kinds of things on it. It's got cheese, it's got nuts, it's got avocado, it's got hummus, it's got coconut milk. So it's kind of a variety of things. But a lot of these things are high in fat, so you really need to be careful about how much you have. But just because it's high in fat doesn't mean it's bad for you. It's actually good for you. It's good kind of fat. So hummus is really great for snacks. So, and I will tell you that it's good to take these containers and especially with the blue, have it. So for instance, it says 12 almonds. A lot of times for a snack, I'll have 6 almonds. So then I still have a half of a blue container left. So, and then for the cheese, that's a lot of cheese. So you really don't need all that cheese. So if you want cheese on your omelet, just fill it half full. And then you have 6 almonds you can eat later. So again, spread out your blue containers because sometimes what I do is I use my whole blue container for actually 2 things. I love avocados in my salad. So I take the quarter of a medium avocado and that's what I have. And I save my blue for my salad. And the other thing I also like to do sometimes is I like to use coconut milk for my shake. So I fill this and put it in my shake, and then I add water. This is about 2 ounces of coconut milk, and then about 6 ounces of water, and it really makes my shake a lot better. So I do those kind of 2 things with the blue. I don't eat a lot of cheese anymore because my husband and I went dairy free, so that's a good thing for us. So anyways, moving on, the orange container. So the orange container, I love this cute little container. Isn't it cute? It's 2 tablespoons. And I actually take this to work. I fill it with hummus and take it to work, when I'm not on the meal plan, because I don't eat hummus a lot when I'm on the meal plan because I use my orange container for other things when I'm on this plan. But I do flaxseed. I put flaxseed in my shake. So I actually do half of one of these or a tablespoon because this is 2 tablespoons. So I use flaxseed in my shake, and then I actually put pumpkin seeds on or these sunflower seeds, sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds I put a tablespoon on my salad, which really yummies it up. So I hate olives, so I don't ever go there. And then another thing is, and then peanuts give me a stomach ache, so I don't go there. The salad dressings. So if you want to have salad dressings on your salad, then you want to save your container for that. What I do for my salad dressings, and we'll get to that in a second, but I use extra virgin olive oil and balsamic vinaigrette. So, but I have made the 21-day fixed dressings, and they're really, really great. So those are in the booklet, and I'm not going to go into detail on those, but they're great. Teaspoon. So you get 2 teaspoons a day, so you get to pick and choose what you want on this. So if you like almond butter or peanut butter, you can put 2 teaspoons of that on an apple, for example. I actually had for breakfast this morning an apple with some almond butter on it. I used to never eat almond butter. Honestly, people, I thought I was a healthy eater, but I wasn't a healthy eater. I didn't eat enough vegetables. I ate too many carbs, and I didn't eat enough fruit. So this plan has taught me so much about healthy eating. And I didn't eat some of the, I never even tried coconut oil. And coconut oil is amazing. I don't know if you've ever had it, but it actually helps burn fat. So if you've never had coconut oil and you want to lose weight, start putting coconut oil and stuff. Start cooking with it. Start using it. It really makes vegetables tasty. So I really like that. So here, extra virgin olive oil. A teaspoon isn't a lot. And I used to use a tablespoon of olive oil and a tablespoon of balsamic vinaigrette. When I'm doing this plan, I use a teaspoon of olive oil and a tablespoon of balsamic vinaigrette. Vinegar is a free food. It's unlimited use, so you can slap it all over everything on my salad. So, and then the olive oil has a lot of calories. There's like 120 calories in a tablespoon of olive oil. So a teaspoon really limits, that calorie count on the olive oil. So yeah, so that works with my salad. That's how I do it with my salad. So I usually, so I use the olive oil, and then I usually do an almond butter, and I might even throw a teaspoon of almond butter in my shake. So it just depends on what, what's going on that day in my meal plan. So that kind of covers all of the containers. And I think, coconut milk, I want to show you I was going to show you, there's canned coconut milk is the allowable blue container. So, and then I also wanted to show you, I think visuals are good. So here's I have olive oil and my balsamic vinaigrette. And like I said, these are free. So the vinegars. All right, let's move on. Free items. Okay, this is a really good list to know about. So the water bar, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail in a second, but vinegars are free. Mustard, I love mustard. And I have a great recipe for a chicken salad that I actually got it. It was in the T25 nutrition guide, but it's basically chopped up grilled chicken, a teaspoon of mustard, and 2 tablespoons of plain Greek yogurt. And I actually use that as a red container for my lunch a lot on this plan. So I just put everything, because the yogurt is a red. And so I put my chicken, I mix it up, mustard's free. I mix up my yogurt and my chicken, and I put it and make sure it fits in the container. And then I take it out and put it into like a half a pita pocket, or I roll it up into a tortilla. And that is what I have for lunch. It's yummy, yummy, yummy. Herbs. There's some great recipes for herbs. I have an example: garlic, ginger, hot sauce, any kind of extract. So if you want to do a shake and you want to add some almond extract to it to make it more tasty, you can do that. And then I will say that spices, if you don't use spices, then you should start using them, because they really make, if you're not somebody who really likes vegetables, they really experiment and do different mixes that are suggested in this meal plan. You'll be surprised at how tasty they make them. You combine the coconut oil and some of the spices, and it's really yummy. And you'll get used to that. You take your taste buds maybe a couple weeks to adjust, but once your body adjusts, it's fantastic. Really, your body feels so much better. And then there's seasoning mixes. I think I mentioned that, but I have an example in a second. So the water bar is just, I like water. I'm a big water drinker. I don't ever have a problem with not drinking water. So, but a lot of people do. And so I think this is really great to spice up, in a way, your water. So you can have flat water or sparkling water, but you have to be careful. Don't go to the grocery store and buy those have all kinds of artificial flavors in them. You don't want those. So anything artificial, try to steer away from. So you basically can so I have one of these, and if you don't have one, I would go invest, because they're fantastic. These little Brita, things, you can get them at Target for $25. So what you do is you just slice lemon and lime wedges, actually cucumber slices in water. It's really, really good. And so frozen grapes is another example. So all kinds of stuff. You can mint leaves, basil's great. So get all fancy with your water, and you'll actually look forward to it. And then there's some recipes here for different kinds of waters. And I actually have noticed in a lot of hotels recently that they have waters, refreshing mixes when you walk into the lobby. And it's really popular to do. So I love that. I want to talk about coffee, because everybody loves coffee, including me. And you are not going to get me to stop drinking my coffee. So, and I don't want to drink it black. I've tried doing that, and it's just, I get really excited in the morning when I get my coffee. And there's just nothing exciting to me about black coffee. So, but you have to adjust. And if you want to see some results, you got to do a little bit of adjusting. So I used to put artificial sweeteners in my coffee. A year and a half ago, I used Equal and Splenda. I moved to Splenda because I thought Splenda was better for you, but it's not. It's basically like putting a little bit of poison in your body every day. So you really want to get off of the sweeteners. Stevia is a great a natural sweetener, but it comes in packets. So I would recommend getting stevia, or Truvia is I think the generic equivalent. I don't really like the taste of stevia, but I do have it for those times when I don't have honey. So I've just switched to honey. You have to be careful with stuff like that because there are calories in it. I measure mine. So I was really excited that this meal plan allows 1 to 2 teaspoons of honey. And so you can have raw sugar, honey, molasses, maple syrup, agave syrup, or stevia. I was using agave syrup, but I did find an article that talked about how it's not that healthy. It's more like raw sugar when you're, after it's gone through the processing. And so obviously raw sugar's on here, so agave's on here. But I think if you're really trying to, be as healthy as possible, I think try to go with honey for your sweetener. And then you can't have cream, which is really sad for me. I do measure my cream and I only put a teaspoon in. So I don't drink a lot of cream, but here low or non-fat milk are what you need to stick to. So I would suggest, doing that. With me, it's more about the color of my coffee. I don't know. It's not so much the taste, it's the color. So, and then limit yourself to 1 to 2 cups a day. So if you're a big coffee drinker, you really need to cut back on that. If you don't want to cut out coffee completely when you're on this, because you will get a really bad headache. I drink decaf, but when I first went on to caffeine free, it was like miserable for like 3 days. And if you're that miserable, I feel like you won't stick to the meal plan. So just keep drinking coffee. Just try to limit what you put into it to these things. Obviously the spices, cinnamon and nutmeg, those things are free. So you can go for it there. So there are replacements that you can do on this plan. I want to make sure that you see some of these things like wine. You can't drink alcohol on this plan, but you can 3 times a week substitute a yellow with 4 ounces of wine. So you need to really be careful and measure. So it's really hard if you're going out to eat. Most places actually a 4-ounce wine is fairly typical. So, but you really don't want to have that second glass of wine. So you just need to be careful. And again, it's 3 times a week. So you get that 1 glass of wine. So you maybe, save it for Friday and Saturday if you're going to be going out, and then maybe one other day. So just limit your wine. And then almond milk is another one. So I had somebody who she was actually putting almond milk in her shake, and she wasn't having results, and she was upset. So I found out she was drinking wine and she was drinking almond milk, and she wasn't substituting. So like she should. So, and she was also skipping containers. So if you really want results, you got to follow this, and you just can't do the almond milk. And I suggest to people that when they start, they follow the plan without any of the replacements the first week and see how they did. And then if they did really well and they lost, 2 to 3 pounds, and they want to incorporate some treats and see how it works the following week, then that's maybe a good way to start off doing the treats. There are, I will say, some dessert type treats. So you can substitute 3 times a week some dessert type things out in the yellow container as well. So I didn't include those just because they're in the book, and I don't need to go into a lot of detail. I just wanted to point out you can replace stuff, and you can eat kind of normal food on this plan. So seasonings. This is an example of, and I have made this, and I have it in a little container. This is not this is a container separate. I got it Target or something. But yummy spices. It's the onion, garlic, mustard, thyme, and black pepper and salt, all-purpose seasoning recipe. And I just stick this in my cabinet with my other spices. And when I'm making, veggies or meat or whatever I need to spice up, I just put a dab on it. So I suggest pre-making the stuff, and makes it a lot easier. So other stuff in the meal plan, the nutrition guide, there's lots of recipes that you can use. There's treats, like I said, and then there's salad dressings. So there's really some good salad dressings in there, really healthy stuff. One of the worst things that you can do is buy some of the junk salad dressings they have in the grocery store. High fat, really bad calorie stuff. And so just really be careful with that. And some artificial ingredients and high in sugar too. So you need to be careful with those. So here's a sample of a meal plan that I did recently. So I just thought it would be, good to go over. But this meal plan is for like I said, the lowest bracket. So I did this in an Excel spreadsheet. And the reason why I love that is because as I add things to my plan, the balance shows on the bottom row. And so I know if I've gone over, when I'm doing my plan, if I'm over or under, I see it. And so I know where I need to add. And this is kind of a good example because, as you can see, my 6th meal of the day, I actually added because I was low on protein that day. So I just took a half a scoop of my Shakeology and made a small shake. And I basically had that for dessert. So that's an example of something you can do. So I had an omelet, and I had a half of a piece of chicken apple sausage. And then I had green grapes for my snack. I did the grilled chicken I talked about and the pita pocket. And then I did a Shakeology for my afternoon snack. I did a Shakeology with all water. I didn't use coconut milk in this case. Added flaxseed and banana. And then for dinner, I had a salad with spinach, carrots, red peppers, red onions, tomatoes. And then I actually used 2 teaspoons of extra virgin olive oil and balsamic vinegar. Oh yeah, so I would use 1 teaspoon of each. No, I didn't. That's weird. Okay, 2 teaspoons. Oh, okay, the flaxseed is in orange. Okay, got it. So I'm trying to follow okay, so I was thinking the flaxseed was a tablespoon, but it's not, it's an orange. See, it takes a while for this all to sink in. I still don't get it sometimes. So here I used 2 teaspoons of the virgin oil, and then the balsamic vinegar is free, and that used up my 2 teaspoons there. And then my half of orange was the sunflower seeds, and my other half of the orange was the flaxseed in my shake earlier in the day. And then you'll see my blue was the avocado I mentioned earlier. So I used 2 greens, half an orange, and 1 blue in my dinner. And, that's basically how you kind of add it up. So, I usually when I'm on this plan, I do like a chicken stir fry or something that incorporates the vegetables. You can do, like one night I put a bunch of vegetables in my spaghetti sauce. So, you just need to make sure you get in those vegetables. If you like raw, vegetables, that's a great snack, or you can do the hummus and the raw vegetables. So however you want to do it. There's tons of meal plans on the internet. You can go to Pinterest or you can just Google 21-day fix meal plans. The only thing that I would caution you on is make sure that the meal plan that you pick is the right meal plan for your calorie bracket. I found a meal plan, for example, and I was using it as an example in one of my groups, and then I realized it had more, the person was using more almond butter than is allowed on my bracket. And so it might have been fine for somebody that was in a higher bracket, but for my bracket, it wasn't good. And so I just always want to make sure that people know, make sure when you look at the meal plan, you count up and make sure it matches, or hopefully the meal plan's labeled for what calorie bracket it is for. So here on mine, I see, it says 1,200 to 1,500 calorie target. So the details of, so like I said, what happened is Beachbody came out with the 21-day fix, and the 21-day fix is a fitness program, 30-minute workouts a day, and the meal plan. And so it was out for almost a year, and they decided, hey, this meal plan is really working. We want people to have it when they're doing other fitness programs as well. So they developed the Portion Fix, which is really the 21-day fix meal plan, but a la carte. So you get it alone without the 21-day fix fitness program. And so it's only $39, and frankly, it really works. I mean, I've had incredible success with the people who have been on this, and it really teaches you how to eat properly. And so I was stuck recently. I've been trying to lose weight and get to be my healthiest ever. I'm on this mission, but I don't have a lot of weight to lose. I just want to lose 5 pounds. And I was stuck at this weight for 4 weeks, and I was eating, well. And I mean, I know how to do this, but it was just stuck. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do the 21-day fix and see how I do. And lost 2 pounds in 4 or 5 days on it. So it definitely works, and I can't speak highly enough about it. The 21-day fix is, like I said, it's you can get that, and that includes the fitness program and the meal plan, and that's $59.85. So, and I will say that the fitness program is a combination of moves with weights. We use hand weights, mostly 5-pound weights. And it is quite a workout. There's a modifier. She's a woman who's a little bit overweight in the videos. So if you can't do the moves that the trainer and most of the people are doing, follow the modifier. That's one of the great things about the Beachbody programs is they all have modifiers. And don't use the weights initially if you have trouble. I mean, when I first did the 21-day fix, I had just finished 2 other programs, so I was pretty fit. And it still was tough in the very beginning, but you will see every week, you alternate different workouts on different days, and every week you get stronger and better at all the moves. So I tell people just to measure yourself against how you were the week before. Don't measure yourself against how well you're doing with compared to the people in the program, because you just want to measure yourself against you. And as long as you're moving forward, that's key. The challenge pack is basically the best deal you can get. It's bundled. It's a 30-day supply of Shakeology, which is actually a phenomenal shake, all natural with over 70 superfoods. Changed my life. Made my hair thicker. I am regular now. I used to have a real problem with constipation, TMI, but so it's changed my life, and actually it's the reason I became a coach and started helping people. So you get a 30-day supply of Shakeology along with the 21-day fix meal plan and the fitness program. So it's an excellent deal. And then I drink chocolate usually. I made myself this morning I'm going to a big dinner tonight, so I'm actually having 2 shakes today. And so I always have chocolate. But this morning I made myself vanilla, and I put my coffee in the vanilla shake, and I put a tablespoon of unsweetened cocoa in it. So I basically made myself kind of a little mocha frappuccino, but a healthy one. That's really good. So, and so what else can I tell you about the challenge pack? So the challenge pack, when you get a challenge pack, you get into my challenge group. And my challenge group, I run challenge groups every month. And typically it's a 30-day group, and it's a serious group. You have to make a commitment. You have to sign a commitment letter. We do before and after pictures. I provide lots of instruction, lots of education. It's really a great way to bond with other women similar to you and get in shape and get healthy. I have tons of success stories from people who've graduated from these programs and done really, really well. So I can't speak more highly about how these challenge groups really change lives. So if you're really serious and you want to lose some weight, I would recommend getting into a challenge group. It's completely free, other than the fact that you get this, you're getting a fitness program you can keep forever. You're getting to use Shakeology for 30 days. It's a meal replacement shake. So you basically, if you replace a meal with it, I drink it as a snack. So it depends on how you incorporate it into your meal plan, but it should be replacing something that you're already spending on food. and some probably crap that you're eating. So like I used to have a lot of Starbucks, and I would have a Starbucks, and that's like $5 now for my stupid Starbucks. And so actually my Shakeology is less than that. If I were to drink every day, it's less than $5 to drink my shake, and I was spending that on Starbucks. So, it's all how you kind of view it, and is it worth it? If I knew what I feel like now was the end result, I would have never even questioned, the cost. So the challenge group's really great, and just wanted to go over that with you. So next steps, if you are interested in doing the meal plan, so you can buy the meal plan a la carte. If you're interested in a fitness program in the meal plan, you can get the 21-day fix. If you are interested in having me coach you on a daily basis and support you and being with a group of other women who have the same goals as you and getting really serious about it, then you should join my challenge group. I highly recommend it. And I will be your coach regardless. And I tell people I'll be your BFF forever, because I really want to see you succeed. And I really want you to feel great and feel like you've never felt before. I'm 56 years old, and I feel like I'm in my 20s, honestly. So there's no stopping me now. And I just want to spread it. I want everybody to feel, I want to have an army of, because I'm not your average army, I want to have an army of over 50-year-old women who are super healthy. And I'd love you to be one of them. So, my challenge group requires a purchase of a challenge pack. You drink Shakeology daily and tons of support and my guidance. And then I also have a free group, an accountability group. So if the challenge group is not what you want to start with, then maybe you want to just, start kind of on your own first. But I do have not your average fitness peeps group, and it's free and it's just fun. It's not like anything serious. I post there, fairly frequently. Don't provide all the education and support that I do in my challenge group, but it is an accountability group of sorts. So with other women, but just it's not very active in terms of people. Like in the challenge group, everybody's like interacting with each other and supporting each other. So it's really cool. This is all done on Facebook, by the way. They're all private groups, so nobody sees any of the information other than the people that are in the group. And then the other option, of course, is to join another clean eating group. So I started doing them every 2 weeks because they're really popular and people get a lot out of them. So I just love doing them and helping people. So that is all I have today. So I hope this has really helped. And I look forward to hopefully working with you in the future and having you feel like phenomenal. And it really does work. I'm evidence. So talk to you later. Bye.